Did Real Avid make the Master Vise even better? We're going to find out in just a couple of minutes. Hey everybody, this is Jason from the Workbench, and thank you for joining Team Banch today as we talk about, well, updates to the Master Vise. Now, anybody that's bought the Master Vise is used to these gun fit jaws. Now, these jaws have this soft side, which is really great to conforming to odd shapes, like the grips of handguns. So if you don't have a vise block for a handgun, you can just clamp that handgun right into these things and they'll just mold around it and hold the gun in place. Of course, on the back, we have the groove for the pick rail, and then these grooves for either barrels or rods or anything that we need to work on. And this is really where the weakness of these gun fit jaws are. Sure, we have these grooves for barrels, but we're not going to be pulling barrels off of like Remington 700s or any other type of action using these grooves. Because we're dealing with hard plastic going on metal, there's just not enough friction there to hold a barrel to actually torque a barrel correctly. Now, Real Avid's coming out with some new vise jaws for the Master Vise. And it's not that we had problems with the Master Vise, they're just making the Master Vise better and giving it more capability for doing things that we need to do to our firearms. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is these multi-fit jaws. When I saw these, I was in the middle of pulling a barrel off of a couple of Winchester 94s. These Winchester 94s have an octagon barrel, which created a problem for me because my barrel vise only does round barrels, not octagon barrels. Now, these multi-fits actually have an octagon pattern to them, and I was wondering if this was going to solve my problem. When I got the barrel in the vise, I was skeptical whether this was actually going to hold. And to my surprise, I had no problems pulling the receiver off of this barrel. This vise was nowhere near the limits that it could take when I took that receiver off. Now, this vise can take 100 foot-pounds of torque, and this was a rusted barrel and rusted receiver. This barrel is actually cleaned up, and the receiver is now sandblasted, getting ready for refinishing. It was in really bad shape, and I just did not know if this was up to the task, and it performed flawlessly. On the other side here, instead of having that spongy material, we have kind of a harder rubber. So that way, if I need to grab something a little harder, worked really great with that. Especially worth working with these Winchester 94 receivers that are flat-sided. I could put them in here, and I had no problems with doing the work that I needed to do. Now, Real Avid didn't stop there. They have these soft fit jaws, which are lined in leather. And this is really great for working on those fine firearms. That way, you're not going to mark up the surface. Now, I put my Browning Auto 5 in this thing, and it was really nice and soft on that finish. That Browning Auto 5 is from the 70s, and I really don't want to mess it up. This thing really protected the finish. Now, the one thing I don't like about the soft fits is the backing. We get the exact same backing as we had with the gun fit. Would have been nice if we had some leather in here, so that way if we're working on a barrel of a fine rifle, it would protect that surface too. Now, the tube fit sleeves, I was scratching my head trying to figure out what to do with the tube fit. Now, the only thing I could come up with is suppressors. It would be really great for suppressors. And remember, I get a lot of comments from the original video about the Master Vise that people use this for hobbies. These would be really great for hobbyists working on, well, round things. But then I got thinking, I create cheater bars sometimes to get a little extra torque out of things. And this is a tube that I have for one of my action wrenches. It's got a really thick handle. And all this is a junction pole for chain link fencing. Would have been really nice if I had this, so when I went to go cut this down, I could have clamped this right into this vise instead of trying to like hold it and use my saw. Then I started thinking a little more about this. We have that soft fit jaws that works really great, like I said, on my Browning Auto 5. Then it hit me. 12 gauge shotgun barrels. Be really great for working on shotgun barrels. Switch this thing over to the soft side here and clamp a barrel up, and then we can do our work. That way, if I'm putting a new bead onto a barrel or any other type of barrel work, I have the perfect thing for it. But it doesn't stop at shotgun barrels. What about bull barrels? Because you get that big profile. It'd be really great for bull barrels as well. Real Avid's making this Master Vise even more versatile. I really liked this tool before, but I'm liking it even better now because I get more use out of it. This really is my go-to vise, and now more than ever. If If you're watching on YouTube, click that video right there. That's the original video about the Master Vise. For everybody else, there's a link down below. Thanks for watching. Hope you're staying safe out there. Look forward to seeing you again soon.